How's my hair?
It's awesome, actually.
Is it really?
Yeah. You did a very good
I don't
job.
want to look weird
you look
or
weird.
gay.
But you look weird and gay, but you did a good job.
It came very, very naturally.
Yeah. It's not like a very complicated hairdo. It's just like a...
Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your new favorite pop culture YouTube channel where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. And as always, this is a spoiler show, so you have been warned. On today's episode, we are continuing our week-long journey through the bursts of ghosts. Busts. We are continuing to bust the ghosts. Monica. We are continuing to bust some ghosts, and we were originally only going to watch the two original ones because it's directly linked to Ghostbusters Returns, Afterlife. Sure, I'm excited for that, and we weren't going to talk about the 2016 Ghostbusters mostly because I was like, well, we liked it. And so let's get that out of the way right now. We like it. If you came here to listen to us talk about how terrible it is, ain't gonna happen.
This is the wrong place for you, boo-boo. I love this movie.
More with each watch.
Oh, yeah.
Don't move. You gotta,
No, I'm tired.
No, listen.
I'm just gonna go ahead and take off. How about that?
I don't really think that's a good idea.
No. Going to take off. Don't piss off the ghost. Really?
Oh my God, it's amazing. She's so hot.
I mean, I'm assuming people know.
Yeah.
It was a soft reboot. It's called like a remake. It's not. It's a reboot.
Yeah.
Paul
if it were
Feig,
a remake, all of their names would be the same, but they'd be women.
I thought the older two were fine.
Yeah.
Neither of us grew up with a like affinity for them. They were just sort of movies. Yeah. So when this came out, there was no love lost, like whatsoever.
I had more girl relatives than boy relatives, and this is not my dad's bag, and my mom likes Bill Murray more than my dad does, but none of this was in any capacity something that was thrust upon me.
Well, and as I mentioned, it scared me badly when I was a child. So I had negative feelings about it for a very long time. I
didn't have negative feelings. I felt like I had seen it and that it was fine. And I watched it again and I feel like it's fine.
So there was this idea to do a reboot. And I remember them phrasing it like, it's like, well, what if we did Ghostbusters but girls? And I don't think that when this actually came to be, that was exactly, like, I don't think that's exactly what they did.
Right.
I don't think Paul Feig walked in was like, we need I like Ghostbusters, but girls. I think he had such a good time with Kate McKinnon or Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig that it just sort of like fell into their lap this way. Because I remember, I don't know if this was ever going to be the case or if it was just fan casting or stuff, but I remember hearing Natalie Portman and Mindy Kaling's names being thrown around.
Yeah, Mindy Kaling had been interested in it, but she's like not involved at all. It would have been good with Mindy Kaling also.
There was a huge amount of controversy that is so completely unnecessary, unneeded. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I can definitely understand if you were passionate about the first two Ghostbusters movies and then watched this with the thought of it being taking up the mantle or a passing of the baton.
Sure.
I can completely see you kind of, because it's a different style of humor.
Yeah.
And I don't mean this in a negative way, but the first two are boy movies.
Yeah, yeah.
It's dudes.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is a girl movie, but it's not a boy movie.
Sure.
And so I think the sensibilities of it are very different. This one's a lot sweeter.
It is sweet. I think my biggest complaint about literally all of that and the controversy is the old movies are still there. Just don't watch this one if it's not what you want.
This is an entire conversation, an episode on its own, but it's a very one of our favorite sayings, which is two things can be true.
Yeah.
You know, it's like yes, there is a need for more diversity and more inclusion and stuff in media, but also that doesn't mean that just because something has that means that it is part of this agenda coming in to take your. It's like, because even something like this weekend, Eternals is kind of getting that. And I'm like, I think the fact that they are very diverse is sort of part of it. Like, I don't think it's like I think it's sort of like built into the DNA of it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily like a political agenda that they were given a checklist for. Of course.
Yeah.
I do remember the first time I saw this, I thought it was light. I thought it was a little light on humor. I think a lot of the jokes could be punched up.
I have that issue with a lot of Paul Feig stuff.
What's that like? Okay.
Not every Paul Feig thing. I think a decent amount of Paul Feig things could be punched up.
I think he's better in our rating, especially with Melissa, because we are actually large fans of Melissa McCarthy's, in spite of the fact that not all of her stuff lands.
Yeah, but I like that she's so gung-ho about it.
I think she is a insanely gifted comedian. And
also, I've been a fan from way back with Gilmore Girls, so I am like in the Melissa McCarthy camp for the long haul.
But there is something about her attitude and her charisma, the energy that radiates from within her, that her swearing puts me in stitches. Yeah. Like her exasperated. It just, there's something. Because
this movie is a lot of exasperation. She's a very sort of like downtrodden and like she like nothing's going her way.
But it's not mopey.
No,
like,
it's not mopey.
Not dour.
Yeah, it's not mopey.
She's got good energy, but it's like, man, and it's very sort of like, oh, okay.
The runner with the wonton soup is literally the height of comedy. It is so funny.
It's funny the whole way, but the like mwah is the end when it's the container and it's just full of wontons.
Nothing but wontons.
What is?
Yeah. I'm just looking for a reasonable ratio of wontons to broth. This is absolute madness.
Come on, girl. You deserve every wonton in the world. Don't let any man tell you otherwise.
Because at the beginning, she's like, there's just one and it's split and there's no even meat inside it. And she goes, I'm just asking for 3 more wontons. So all she wants is 4 wontons and she can't make it happen.
And then there she gets the shrimp, like the
sweet and sour shrimp. Oh, man.
With one shrimp and what she hopes is a water chestnut.
Yeah. So funny.
But I will say, and maybe this is what you mean about Paul Feig, or this can tie in with that, is this is one of the ones for me that the returns are accelerating. Like it is funnier. I've seen this a good 5 times now.
Yeah.
And this was the funniest I found it.
Okay, I agree with that. I think here's my biggest thing is I think he's better as a director than he is as a writer.
Okay.
And because he helped write this screenplay, I think that's not as much his strong suit as directing. Because, like, look at something like A Simple Favor. He did not write that, but he directed it. And
did he have story credit?
I don't think so. He's not listed as a writer. I'm looking at it right now.
It was a book.
Yeah. And so I think that's where his strength lies, is bringing a style to something, which I think he does beautifully in Ghostbusters. But I don't know that he's necessarily good for the writing. Because if you'll remember, he also did not write Bridesmaids.
Okay.
So that's the thing. And he, I guess, is looking at a writing, or he did do Spy, which is hilarious. I'm not saying he can't do it.
Well, I mean,
but there's probably a ton of improv.
I keep saying too. Punched up.
Yeah.
I mean, just bring in Phoebe Waller-Bridge and like, so, and the other thing I will say is there's a fair amount of improvising from Kristen, Melissa, and then we have Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones, both established. But this is relatively early in their careers. This
was pre both of their huge breakouts on SNL.
Kate was already.
Was she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Leslie hadn't quite. This was her first big thing because this is what chased her off the internet.
Oh, right.
And
she's back. She live tweets all kinds of shit still.
The thing is, what they're doing is very funny. I don't know what about it is necessarily Ghostbusters. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what about like the improvising they're doing belongs in this franchise. Like, I think if you took this material and put it in a different movie without the comparison.
Sure. So that is where I was going to go to the like thing that Daniel Craig most recently said, which is everybody conflated to him saying, I don't think James Bond should be a woman. When what in reality he said is, I think there should be James Bond equivalent roles.
He says, don't just
women.
Don't just cast a woman as James Bond.
Yeah, make something for a woman that's equivalent, like equally, you know, has the prestige of James Bond. I feel a similar thing with this. I have no issue that it's Ghostbusters because, again, I don't have that like nostalgia for it. That being said, this could have easily been something slightly different. Well, gather these 4 women and let them do this story, and it's just about something else.
There's just sort of like a dry quirkiness to, although that's in the first 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I take this entire section back. I mean, because especially with Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, they have kind of
it is a different kind of comedy, and the only reason I would argue that it's actually different is because they were men from the 80s. Those are the biggest differences.
I didn't write any specific examples down, especially with them, because
I'll tell you one. It's at the very beginning when they go to meet Ed Begley Jr. at the Haunted Mansion.
Ed Mulgrave died 15 years ago.
Yes. That's awesome. Dead for 15 years. Ed's a ghost. Ah, knew it.
I just saw him today. Oh, so who is this?
But that's Ed's son, Ed Jr.
Okay, that's obviously who I meant.
Hi.
That joke would not have been in the old one.
well, again, that's a very sort of exasperated, like womp womp, like. I meant specifically with Kate and Leslie because I think by no means am I implying that they don't belong here, but I think what Kristen and Melissa are doing is broader in a way that is certainly more familiar, where it's like Kate McKinnon is weird in this movie, but not weird the way I mean, it is a very Kate McKinnon role. She's doing Kate McKinnon bits, but it's like there's a stillness to Holtzman.
Okay, what Holtzman reminds me of is do
you know what I mean?
Yeah, have you ever watched Kate McKinnon on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld?
Just the Naughty Pine.
Okay, because she has this whole bit about how lesbians dress.
My clothes say, do not talk to me. I wore a pair of SpongeBob SquarePants pajama bottoms, clogs, and a hand-me-down hooded sweatshirt. I gave myself my own haircuts.
But you wanted...
And that's when I looked the best.
But you wanted girls to like you.
That's fine for them.
That's fine for them.
That's the secret.
And it's just it's the stillness that you're talking about.
Cameron Esposito has a thing where like a dude like hits on her and her girlfriend at the time.
She's like,
I am specifically tailoring.
What about this makes you think I'm for you?
This is for you.
And so in relation to the stillness that you discussed, it's like that moment in that episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee is what I like. I feel that Kate McKinnon in this performance.
I think that she can be zanier in a way that while, like, again, that's present here, there's sort of a stillness and almost maybe a dangerous, like, and I also like that Holtzman is not gay. Yeah. Because she has that strange sort of pseudo seduction with Aaron to the rhythm of the night. Yeah. And I love that Aaron's not like, into it. She like considers it. You know what I mean?
Well, Erin is so into Chris Hemsworth's Kevin, but she also is like, I'm not into Holtzman. It just like, you know, I'm sure there's fan fiction.
This also has a very, very specific visual style. Yeah. It's very pretty.
It's
in
shiny.
A strange way. It's very glows. Like it's like a neon, it's like a candy apple red, aqua, a lime green, some gold. Like it's
there's some
very,
pink too.
very appealing from a visual style in a way that sucks me in. When we open up at the Mulgrave manor or mansion or whatever, for starters, Zach Wood, he has 3 jokes. We're not even 5 minutes in the movie, and I by this again, my 5th time watching it. The only one I remember is,
It's said that in this very room, P.T. Barnum first had the idea to enslave elephants.
and they're talking about the daughter, the whatever Constance daughter, whatever her name was, and he said something about God was definitely drunk when he created her.
I love Zach Woods so much. I've been a fan of him for a while too. He's amazing on The Office. He was absolutely, and this is in a cast of 5 men that I love, but he is the best part of Silicon Valley.
You shut the fuck up! How would you like to die today, motherfucker?
No. So good. I can't even relate how good it is. He's just got something about him. Apparently, Paul Feig said he is the best improviser he's ever met.
And that's apparent in his, you can tell, because he's delivering all of these lines in a very deadpan way. And also, I feel like I'm actually going to end up making a case for why this is a good successor to the first 2, because I think that the ghosts look like the ghosts from the first one.
Yes, and the photon blaster rays. I think they used similar technology. They made with the technology they made it look like
the layering of the ghosts.
Yeah.
And because again, they're pretty, sort of, not unlike the library ghost or the blowjob ghost or whatever. And I keep calling her Constance. I don't think that was her name, but you could see her rib cage. She looks like the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah. Gertrude.
Constance is the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, okay.
Constance Hatchway. What I retained of the trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife is that it has that sort of Stranger Things grittiness that
I think it's going to be silly too.
Well, because that's what I was going to say. I was going to be the first 2 weren't gritty. I mean,
the only grittiness comes from the fact that they came out in 1984 and 1986, respectively. So that's the only reason. That's the only gritty part of it. But I don't want to spoil anything for you, but there's cute stuff in the trailer too.
Okay.
I mean, I suspect it's nefarious, but it's cute while it's happening.
I remember the trailer giving me not giving me a Ghostbuster or a Goosebumps vibe.
Oh, well, I mean, they're out in the countryside, which is now unusual because all 3 of them have taken place in New York. But other than that, yeah, I don't know.
And I mean, I will say that this one definitely does have slightly more of a, is it a family vibe?
Well, it's a found family vibe.
No, I meant a family movie vibe. I
Which
imagine
is
younger kids.
Because this one is PG-13.
Where?
I don't know.
She says fuck, but
well, they also.
And it's very early in the movie, and
apparently the studio wanted to cut the flashing ghost, and Paul Feig was like, "I'm sorry, no, there's a blowjob in the first movie."
Well, and also we don't see anything.
No, it flashes from the top. The rat ghosts immediately after are scarier than the flash and weirder than the flasher.
I really don't want to come into this with a, I think this is better than that, and here's why. But I will say what I responded to, I prefer the plotting of this one.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is the sophistication of modern audiences. But I like that we get a sense of who Aaron and Abby are, that they are childhood friends. I understand where their passion for both science and paranormal comes from in a way that in the first movie I was sort of do they actually care about any of this? Or is it just sort of
well, and then Holtzman is just bonkers enough to have stumbled into it on her own. And then I do like that Patty literally stumbles into it. I like it. I think you're right. I
think the emotional payoffs
are very good. The 4 of them have really fun chemistry, and then they have fun chemistry in different duos, which I think is really nice because Abby and Aaron have an established chemistry, and then Abby and Jillian have an established chemistry, and then Patty's the only one who's the outsider.
However, Leslie and Kate have an established chemistry
from outside stuff, so that all works as a cohesive whole. And it's the type of thing that reaching just briefly into something we just saw, which is the Eternals. That movie is 30 minutes longer than this movie, and this movie managed a lot more interpersonal payoff than Eternals did.
I'll allow it.
You know, and like it's sort of baffling to me.
Well,
how that
the scene at
happen.
the end where Holtzman, where Kate McKinnon like tells them basically that she loves them, what they mean to her.
I love it.
Out of nowhere, and it's kind of like.
Well, and she's been so emotionally like a little pulled back the whole time because she's very sciencey and
she was like, I didn't have friends growing up. I was weird. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's so good. And that's the kind of stuff that makes me like this movie so much, because the other thing I'll say, and this is getting into a little bit of the controversy, I am a woman. When Kate McKinnon just starts wasting ghosts and they're doing the riff on the Ghostbusters theme in the background, I can't handle it. I like was getting misty while we were watching it. I'm getting a little misty right now. It's so cool.
It's not quite No Man's Land.
It's not quite. No, it obviously, and it doesn't,
nowhere near No
and
Man's
it doesn't. It doesn't have the depth of character or anything. Mm-hmm. It's equally badass.
But it's akin.
I would say.
I mean, it's the comedy, the silly comedy.
Yeah.
Bedfellow of that.
I love it so much, and it makes me so happy because not only can you see that like Holtzman is having fun doing it, but I can feel Kate McKinnon. Little baby Kate McKinnon who dressed up like Dana Scully for Halloween. I can feel her joy performing that scene. And also, it is so hot. So it's like so nice for me to see something like that. And then for there to have been so much vitriol about this, when I'm like, I don't know how you can look at this movie and not see the joy that all of them are bringing to it.
This does remind me of something that Cara Brown said a few years ago, where she said it kind of like short, like rudely, but she didn't quite mean it that way. And she was like, it somehow only dawned on me that she was like, in particular, I'm speaking generally, broadly, but she was like, straight men, in particular, straight white men, have never had to relate to somebody else before.
Yeah.
Where she was like, my entire life growing up, I had to learn how to identify with and empathize with straight white male characters in movies. She was like, that's a hurdle I cleared, you know, when I was like 5.
Yeah.
And so they reach a point where many of them, I feel like, have never been forced to do that. And so there is something about it where it's like, what is this shit? Like, this isn't for me. And it's like,
that thing's weird. I don't get it.
That's because it's not for you. Because you have everything. Everything is for you. And this one thing is for him.
I mean, not expressly.
It was not made for the purpose of entertaining you, the straight white man specifically, but that doesn't mean that you can't turn on your empathy and figure out how it relates to you.
Because a similar thing happened with Birds of Prey, where they tried to say that Mary Elizabeth Winstead wasn't hot. And I was like, I don't know how to explain to you.
I don't have time for that.
That she's very hot in that movie.
So hot.
It may not be a specific type of hot that you're asking for.
Right.
But because there's a scene early on with Holtzman, with Kate, where she like takes off her lab coat and she has this like kind of 3/4 sleeve green crop top and overalls, but she's wearing nothing underneath it. And it's very K-Stew, like, it's very sexy in this way and that's where the whole, like,
it's a very lesbian outfit.
Well, her wasting the ghosts and stuff like that. It's like, like you said, it's not hot.
It's
like
so hot.
And it's just such a good amount of slow motion, and it doesn't go too far. It's like, though you and I both love the like girl power scene from Endgame, I can understand how a handful of people rolled their eyes at that.
Sure.
And so it's like, we don't go into that point, and I think I just said this, but also good use of slow motion, Zack Snyder.
There's not too much slow motion. It does speed.
It doesn't go on too long.
It doesn't go on too long, and there are fast moments that then pull back again to slow motion, and the whole scene altogether is like maybe 45 seconds.
But also, I mean, it's sort of a power. Like, you can feel the power when she like pulls the like.
She also does like a whiplash from Iron Man 2 thing, which is also very hot.
I wanted to say when we were talking about Leslie Jones, I think my favorite of her bits is at the rock concert with the gargoyle.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm just gonna go.
They're like, Patty, don't. She's like, nope. And they're like, no, but you got it. She goes like, no, I don't want to know.
Don't tell me.
She's like, I'm just gonna. And like, I find the whole thing funny, but in particular, the wide shot where you can just see the gargoyle slowly like mincing through the audience on her shoulders.
Also, it's such an easy joke, and it was in all of the trailers, but when she tries to fling herself back to like crowd surf to get where Melissa McCarthy, and they all just let her fall, and she goes, I don't know if it was a race thing or a lady thing, but I'm pissed. It's one of my favorite things. That's my flavor of Leslie Jones. It's so funny.
Do you want to talk about Chris Hemsworth?
Oh my God.
People really hated that too. And so I'll admit it is low hanging fruit. I mean, there is twice they do make a comment where he confuses seeing for hearing.
Don't listen.
I won't.
Oh, he covered his eyes.
However, again, only once, but that exact joke is also made in the first Ghostbusters. So
listen. You smell something?
Not that, but when he puts his finger through his glasses and there's no glass. So Chris Hemsworth improv'd that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because you can tell Melissa McCarthy's reaction.
Yeah.
Because she's like, oh.
Yeah.
Because you can see her being like, do I go with this or do I? She was like, there's no glass in here.
So here's the thing. I understand the like reason why people didn't like him and why it like didn't like check for a lot of people. But the issue is that is the female character in so many other movies. And you're fine with that?
People perceived it like it was, like the people who hated it perceived it like it was done to teach them a lesson.
No.
And I don't think it was done to be like, this is how bad your movies are. I think it was sort of like, see this thing that like happens in every movie, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
Let's dial it to 11. And like, and again, it's like on Hemsworth's charm alone, like because again, not all of those jokes land, but by this point, I am laughing at all of them.
Yeah. Well, he also improv the "my cat" line.
Would it be okay if I bring my cat to work sometimes? He has major anxiety problems.
You know what? I would love to let your cat live here with you, but I have a pretty severe cat allergy.
Oh, I don't have a cat. He's a dog. His name's my cat.
Your dog's name is my cat?
And Mike Hat.
Your dog's name is Mike, last name Hat.
Well, his full name is Michael Hat.
I can't say that I'm allergic to dogs, so...
Yeah, that's all right. He lives with my mum.
Well, then we have that figured out.
One down?
I love the dumb secretary trope. I think it's funny. I think it's funny.
Annie Potts wasn't dumb, but she certainly was a secretary trope.
Sure. I think it's funny. I think it can be done well. I also think it's been done for over 100 years. I don't see why they should have not had that happen in here. And also, in this instance, it would have been strange if it was a dumb female secretary.
Well, honestly, I think there's a reality where that could easily work.
It could have, but like honestly, if we're going from like people that these people have worked with before, oh God, I've totally forgotten her name, Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, Ellie Kemper.
Ellie Kemper could have easily done it. She's great at that kind of shit.
I went to a Katrina Bowden on 30 Rock place.
Yeah, or that, or like Suri. But I think there's something so funny then, especially about Aaron being so into him.
Well, because to quote Cecily Strong, oh, she's a scientist.
Oh, yeah, that's sad. She can't get in there. That's sad. I just think it's so funny the way that they managed to because even Kate, even Jillian is like weirdly intrigued by him.
Well, and it's one thing to like humana. It's another thing that she like, there's the running joke about the coffee. And he like animation comedy spit takes into the coffee cup. Into the cup. And she's like, well,
we don't want to waste it. And then she's like,
that's very
hilarious.
That is the next level that I don't think that bit got credit for. And I love that he's got a very sort of like Pinocchio, I want to be a real boy vibe, especially when he just decides that it's his like life's mission to be a Ghostbuster. and they're trying to warn him, and he's like, "You can't stop me!"
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. And also, I think Chris Hemsworth is a underrated talent.
Mm-hmm.
I know he had 1 or 2 hit movies on Netflix recently, but I know
I don't know that it was a hit, but Extraction is,
Yeah.
if you're looking for like a legit action movie, Extraction's pretty good.
I know he's had spotty track record with the box office. I mean, he's got the Marvel movies, but some of his, I think he just hasn't picked the best scripts.
Well, so apparently a couple of them are like good. They just didn't get marketed right. Like Rush is apparently really good. The one about car racing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like he had another one that's actually supposed to be like pretty good, but it's like a little bit alarming that Thor is in the movie.
I just feel like it's like Master and Commander or something. Heart of the Sea.
Oh, yeah.
He's in a similar boat with like Alexander Skarsgård, where it's like, I think he's a very good both comedy and drama actor, and I do not think his ship has sailed, to keep with the boat metaphor.
What? He's just got to row it into dock properly.
He's just kind of in, because he handles.
Bad Times at the El Royale. He was quite good in that.
But that also bombed too.
I don't know that it bombed as much as it was never going to make any money, but it was critically well received, I think.
Yeah, and there's a difference between Kevin and when Rowan is Kevin. He plays it differently.
There's a difference for sure.
The cameos are fun. I think they're not really necessary, especially now knowing that Afterlife is coming out, because aren't they kind of all in Afterlife?
So that's the thing, is I do wish that they were playing themselves. Like, I wish they were playing the characters from the old ones.
But see, if anything, if I were a OG Ghostbusters stan, that would piss me off more because that makes this canon, where this is sort of like an alternate reality.
Sure.
And I also want to know how many people that hated this movie loved the cartoon, because the cartoon is a suggestion of the movie as well. That was one of the things I loved about Kate McKinnon's hair, is it's kind of styled after Egon from the cartoon.
Yeah.
He's got like a
curly little doo-woo. I guess there were plans when this was first started. There were plans to have Harold Ramis cameo as well, but then he passed away before they started filming. There are other cameos in this movie. I already mentioned Ed Begley Jr., who I love. Charles Dance is in this movie as a very Charles Dance character, but I just do love that Charles Dance is in this movie.
And a baffling Elizabeth Perkins.
Yeah. I don't really know why.
I said it was pre-Sharp Objects.
Yeah.
So I hadn't, well, if we're being completely honest, it was pre-Glow for me. It was post-Glow, but pre-Glow for me.
So yeah, she's in Big. So it's like, I've had Elizabeth Perkins in my life forever. And I've also watched Weeds.
But I mean, Renaissance.
Sure, Renaissance. Yeah. But yeah, that's really funny.
Well, we have Andy Garcia and Cecily Strong doing a whole lot with a very little. I love the
Cecily especially
utter fury. I just said Mayor Andy Garcia gets at the comparison to the mayor from Jaws.
Please don't be like the mayor in Jaws.
Never compare me to the Jaws mayor. Never!
And he delivers it in such a way that it's like a mayoral code.
Yeah.
Like never.
Don't ever compare me.
It's not him.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't say that to a mayor.
To a mayor ever.
They talk about it at the meetings. Like.
But Cecily's whole thing, where you said it when we were watching it this time, and you were like, it's just the timbre of her voice at this point, and I feel the comedy, even if it's not supposed to be there.
The recent history, the past 5 years, SNL cast has been an embarrassment of riches when it came to the women. Like, there was even a joke in Family Guy where he's like, Quagmire was like talking about how he doesn't know what to do with the world, and he's like, the women are funnier than the men on SNL. I don't know what to do. And so picking a favorite it's like Sophie's Choice, but many people I think would think that my favorite would be Kate, and I adore Kate, but I go all in for Cecily. Cecily Strong is my girl.
And I'll tell you why it is for me, because she is also my favorite.
Is she?
Yes, I think she's great. And the reason why is because she brings a zaniness to the straight characters. There's something deeper in the straight characters that she plays. And for Kate, it's like mostly all zany all the time. And every once in a while she gets a straight character. What? But she doesn't always put the crazy in the straight characters. But there's there's like something behind the eyes in all of Cecily's straight characters.
I just like skits were like flying through my mind.
I kept on thinking about Deborah's Time.
Deborah's Time is that's God tier for me. And with Hemsworth. With Chris Hemsworth. Because I was thinking of a skit where where Kate is the straight man, is the one where Cecily is Erica Jane.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Larry David.
Yeah.
And he kind of stumbles over his lines and breaks a little bit. And Kate's like, are you okay? And she's like, you get so angry. And part of what the audience is laughing at is the fact that this is Kate McKinnon trying to ground him.
Sure.
And that's what I mean, where it's like we watch SNL pretty religiously.
Yeah.
And we talk about how there's layers to skits when you are like a devoted.
When you watch.
Yeah.
Kate is also the straight character in David Pumpkins. Her and Beck are the straight men in that skit. And that's one that everybody will have seen. And I think that is hilarious.
That is weird.
The fact that she's not in the show, in the David Pumpkins ride, is bonkers. Just saying.
Yeah, no, that's a good observation.
And she does well. She's good at that, but again, she doesn't bring anything extra to like that wife.
Yeah. Going back to Cecily though, I do want to say sad women.
Yeah.
And I do love that like they read Eat, Pray, Love and just went for it.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite is I already mentioned it, but when Kristen Wiig's trying to open the windows.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, she thinks these are sliding doors.
That's like, sad. She's a scientist.
She thinks they're all doors. That's sad. She's a scientist.
The way she delivers it is magnificent.
It kills me every time. People got really, really butthurt over Girl Slimer, and I don't see how it's any different than Slimer. I mean, Slimer is weird as is, so... And I mean, I
don't care.
It's such a
I didn't even know that was a criticism.
Oh, people were big mad. And I'm like, care. I mean, there's the whole like,
don't you want Slimer to get some? Come on.
To get slimed? Well, because that's what makes all of that worth it is the line when they like drive off and Kate McKinnon's like, well, that thing's having the time of its life. Yeah. And I mean, to me, it sort of harkens back to like the girl gremlin or like Smurfette or sort of. And then there's the double layer. And I mean, maybe this is part of what people hated, but there's the double layer of like, this is the movie where it's the thing, but with girls, you know. And if she were an like if this was Boobo the Owl or Jar Jar Binks or something, I would.
Boobo the Owl?
Clash of the Titans.
Oh, okay.
I could understand, but I was like, you see her twice in the entire movie.
Like, she didn't even register to me.
I also love the.
I unfocus when Slimer comes on. I don't like
my eyes cross.
Yeah, I don't care at all.
I love the old timey Thanksgiving Day balloons.
Yeah,
those are fairly accurate.
Yeah,
if you look up the old.
Oh no, I know.
And old Halloween costumes, nightmare factories.
Real spooky.
I do think they overdo the Ghostbusters logo. They make a Ghostbusters logo joke in this movie like 4 times. And my favorite one is the Kevin joke where it's just the ghost with the giant tits.
Oh yeah. That is funny. I could make them bigger.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think this is more my style. This is more my speed. I resonate more with the female characters and, like I said, the overall, the heart of it, the friendship, the found family. It just, I don't know. That all that part stuff works better for me. And then when you add on top of that I find it very beautiful, like very appealing, very from a
like
production place. Yeah. I honestly, I just love it. I'm so glad we watched this now. I'm so glad we did this because though I said I've seen it about like 5 or 6 times now, it's been since it came out.
Yeah.
And I had kind of gradually convinced myself that it was bad or that I didn't like it because
it's not bad.
I mean, it's got a 75 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's not bad, but the audience score is a 49.
Oh, apparently the slime won both versions, but in this one in particular was a great menace because however they did it, it was like water-based. So to wash it off just created more. and
no.
it like took like an hour. That's why Patty never gets slimed, is because Leslie didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So she kept throwing herself behind
them.
And so Kristen Wiig takes like the brunt.
Yeah. Well, and there is a joke about that too, where she's like, "It's the slime feels personal to me now."
So I think that that's more than sufficient, especially for now. So, within reason, let us know what you think. I said what I said.
Bring it.
Oh, fucking come at me right here.
I'm going to start fighting with people in our YouTube comments from my personal account. We'll see how that goes.
I don't care.
I'm not going to do it. I don't care what you say. Yeah, so I love this. I think
time will be kind to it.
I think time is already being kind to it, and I think more people should try it again.
Yeah.
Give it another whirl.
And remove the Ghostbusters from it if you can. I mean
as much as you can.
Like I said, watching the old ones was making me like it more.
Yeah. I agree.
And all of it was making me like all of them more.
Yeah.
So I'm 5 out of 5. I'm for it.
Okay. Follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching, Instagram @SoI'mWatchingTheShow. We also have a website, soimwatching.com. If you are so inclined to donate us any money, you can do so at patreon.com/soimwatchingthisshow. @SoI'mWatching for Venmo, @SoI'mWatching for coffee, $soimwatching for Cashapp. And then just like and subscribe. Bye. Yeah. Put that over all of us.